All right. Welcome back. Welcome back, Bulls. Welcome back to the Bulls. Maybe, just maybe, man. Here we go. There's some nice long setups out there today. There is. There are definitely some interesting long setups out there. Welcome back, guys. Get everything set up here. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Monday. All right. Yeah, definitely some interesting stuff out there today. Morning, everyone. Morning from the UK. Make sure we got everything set up here. All right, we're good to go. We are good to go. Welcome back, guys. Morning, morning, morning. Do I have it on members only? I think I do, right? I'll give it a shot without members only today. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. It made for a good clip. It made for a good clip. All right. Espresso this morning. Little honey. A little bit of cinnamon. Delicious. All right, happy Monday. Welcome back. Some nice upside, nice gap up on the markets. Nice continuation. We are moving into some big spots, some big tests today for the Bulls for sure. Yeah, all eyes for me. This 573, 575 zone on the SPY. All eyes on this zone. 200 SMA on the SPY, 20 SMA on the SPY. Big 4-hour previous lows. This is going to be a big test for the Bulls today. This is definitely the type of morning that you'd love to get a little pullback before we find some entries. That's for sure. So would love to look for that today. A couple pullback longs, but there's some really nice setups. Palantir being one of them. We'll talk about it. That's probably my favorite long setup today. Is definitely that Palantir. I think the semis still have a little bit of work to get done before I'm that confident on the long side. There's definitely still some semiconductor action that I would like to see before we go really aggressive on the long side on some semis. But I think it's a great time, even if you're not trading options. As you guys know, I posted this last week, and I'm hoping you're paying attention. I've been buying some shares of Tesla and Nvidia. I think I might have caught like the exact low on those. So I don't mind the shares. Like I have, like you guys know, I've always been buying the shares. I think there's still just one more thing to look for like playing it with aggressive options on the call side. Here was my share purchase recently. My most recent like sort of lump sum share purchase was right here. I was 100 shares of Tesla at 236, and then 150 shares of Nvidia at 116. So that was my most recent like big purchase. I think that was like 40K, 50K. I don't know what that exactly came out to. I think it was around 50. That's 23,000. That's, yeah, it was right around 40, 50K. That was my most recent, contribution to my SEP IRA. Like I said, you got to contribute to the SEP regardless. So why not try to contribute to it after some big pullbacks? So that's what I did there. 116 on Nvidia, which was a pretty decent low down there, and then 236 on Tesla, which is looking pretty good for now, right? For now. But the great thing about shares is it's shares, man. Just keep holding. So, yeah, so far so good on those. Some interesting opportunities today. Let's go ahead and prepare the best we can. I think hopefully a week that some more opportunities will arise. We were in some really strong consolidation over the last few weeks, and consolidation can lead to expansion, right? So let's see, right? Let's see if it actually starts to occur. We consolidated. Now let's see if we can get into some kind of a real move on the market. That is still to be seen. That's to be determined still. I still think there's a lot of work that needs to get done. We're still trading under the 200 SMA on major indices and futures contracts, so we still need to be cautious, right? We definitely do. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into the charts. Let's start with the S&P 500 here today. Let me go ahead and pull up the charts here. Share screen or square window. There we go. All right. So here we go. S&P 500 futures. Let's start here. Press that like button if you guys could. Early likes. Press that like button if you guys could. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And this is it. So previous major lows here that we're getting close into here at 5,800 on the S&P 500 futures. Right here. 5,800. You guys can see these lows. You can see these lows. And you can see that was that Monday rejection. I don't know if you guys remember that Monday. That was a very, I think a lot of people should remember that Monday. That was a very memorable Monday on the market back on March 10th. So March 10th, we failed 5,800, right? And we went vertically lower the entire day. I mean, it was the entire day. All day downside from 5,800, about 3%. Down to 5,600. So we went down almost 200 points on the ES, and that was because of a rejection at 5,800. Oh yeah, I'll go into the economic calendar in a second. I'm just excited to get into this, so we'll run through this ES and we'll pull it up. 5,800, right? That is a very big spot, and you can see that was the Monday rejection that created the 200.3% downside on the S&P 500 after failing underneath these very clear double bottom lows. And so that is where we're trading into today, right? That is a big spot, okay? So you can see here on the 30-minute chart, we are trading right into that 5,800, right into the daily 20 SMA. All right, so this is going to be our big test today. What I would prefer to see as a trader today, instead of just ripping through this and holding it, I mean, I wouldn't mind a pullback long here, but what I would prefer to see would be a rejection here, pull it back to the FOMC highs around this 57.60, and then look for that long. Or, in my opinion, even better would be pullback gap fill 57.20 and then create that long. Right? So I would much prefer that today. Now, I don't know if you will get that, right? That's going to be a big question. Do we just rip this thing right above 5,800, right above the daily 20, and do we just turn that into support? And is that the long to look for today, right? Over 5,800, over the daily 20? Or do we need that rejection back into 57.60 or back into the gap fill? This gap fill is definitely possible today, my friends, and you need to be open to that, right? We can't get too blinded. I love the upside. I love it for the long term. I like seeing green candles. That's, at the heart, at the core of me, I like green candles. I like to see them. But we have to stay open to the possibility of this gap maybe needing to be filled. All right. So the only way you look for that gap fill today, in my opinion, the only way you trade the look of a gap fill, the only way you consider the gap fill trade is if you fail under these highs. You have to first fail under 57.60, right? Fail under this last Monday high, fail back below the FOMC high, fail back below the Thursday high, right? That rejected at the same level, and fail back under this little after hours or really futures high before we squeeze through it. If we see a fail back under and a rejection of, right, that would be your game plan to short into 57.20. Now, that is only if that happens. And does the gap need to be filled? The answer to that is no. It doesn't, right? I know everyone would like it, and I know it's maybe possible in the future. It does not need to happen today, right? This could go higher before it goes lower, no doubt, right? You could go another 2% higher before you go lower. So just be aware of that, right? Just be aware of that. 5,800 is definitely a heavy supply. It's definitely not a spot I'd be just degenerately longing things into this morning, right? I would at least want to see 57.60 for at least a first good look. If you get under that, you look for 57.20, okay? If we zoom out on this, back out on this hourly chart and get more time, we can see if we get over the 5,800 today, right? If we do get over the 5,800 today, oh, what happened here? If we do get over the 5,800 here, right here, 5,800, if we do get back above, I would assume that it gets pretty quick through this area. It's going to be tough to know exactly the spot, but I'm assuming it's anywhere between 58.60 and that 5,900 is where this would likely start to squeeze into, right? Because that is these previous highs here, right? And that is that 200 SMA. The likely target could be the 200 SMA. That is up at 5,900. So I would say if you get a really confident hold today, right, by end of day or maybe even tomorrow or intra-week, maybe this takes a few days, but if you do see this market hold over 5,800, I would very highly consider just confidently longing this towards 5,900 because I believe at that point that is likely where the market is going to want to sort of magnet towards and test that 200 SMA above. So that is definitely something to consider. That's if we get a really strong hold over 5,800 today. That would be the requirement for that look. Pretty clear today. Very clear. Today is about emotional control, my friends. That's what today is about. A day like this on a morning gap up is all about emotional control. The moves will likely be very clean, right? And the upside will likely be clean, but the upside may not come in until a pullback, right? And you don't want to be the person that's long too early, gets caught in a pullback, gets stopped out, and then at 2 o'clock, later today, this thing's ripping to new highs, right? Because you long too early into a morning gap up, it pulled back into a very clear demand, let's say 57.60 or even the gap fill long, right? You long too early, you got stopped out, and then later today, you're looking at a gap fill huge long or a 57.60 huge long, right? That is not what you want to be a part of. So today is all about emotional control, allowing, right, maybe that morning pullback to come in, allowing some of the chasers early morning to get slapped around, and then finding that real spot. All right, where is that spot today? Where is that spot today? 57.60, 57.20. Those are definitely two very key spots I would look for, and obviously over 5,800. Okay? I think a great game plan there today. I'm very excited to trade today. I feel like it's going to be a really nice day. I think the levels are clear. I think the 20 SMA up there is definitely clear. And so let's quickly jump into the economic calendar because I know we did miss that today at 9:45. So here's a great reason to be patient for the first 15 today, all right? Great reason to be a little bit patient for the first 15 today. Manufacturing PMI, services PMI at 945, right? That's great. Great reason, great excuse to say, hey, hands off for first 15. I love that. So 945, manufacturing PMI, services PMI. Let's be aware of that. Trump speaking tentative time, so I couldn't tell you when. Tomorrow, home price index, consumer confidence, new home sales. Wednesday, durable goods. Thursday, GDP unemployment claims. And Friday, PCE price index. Personal income, personal spending, consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. So not too much to worry about today. I say 9:45, and then after 9:45, you have some freedom to get active. Okay? Do we have any earnings today? I didn't even look. Do we have earnings today? Or this week? Anything important? Let's see. GameStop. GameStop tomorrow. Oh, man. Everyone buy longs. Everyone YOLO their account through it. Ocklo's tonight. That's interesting. Nothing I'm interested in. Lululemon on Thursday. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on. Okay. All right. Let's jump into the SPY ETF. So here is the big kahuna. The big kahuna right here. Right here. The big kahuna. Let me go to the 4-hour chart. Look at this level. Here it is, right? Look at this 4-hour. We clear out all the short-term levels. We focus on the big levels here. Look at this thing, man. 575 on SPY. Major previous highs here, right? Back in September. Turned into a low, right? A little bit of a fake out here, but then ripped back above it once we reclaimed it, right? Which could be something that happens here. 575 here, very clear. Right here, back in January 13th, 575. So, what would I say? 570, right? And I like Tex. I agree, right? I agree. It is to me not in stone, right? It's not set in stone, in my opinion. Nothing should be set. Nothing changes today. Nothing is set in stone if we're still below the 200 SMA. That should be the one line in the sand for everyone out there. It's just known to be. It's a huge level, the 200 SMA. Everyone knows the 200 daily moving average. We are still below that. And guess what? It's trading right at this major level, which is not, it's just not a coincidence at this point, is it? It's just going to be a major test for the bulls today. Previous major highs, previous low here from January 13th, major 4-hour low that ripped the markets back higher. And take a look at this 575 spot. Take a look at what goes on at this level. Previous lows, look at this flip, right? This was the flip. Remember Monday? We talked about Monday on the ES at 5,800. We said that was the Monday that went straight down. Guess what? Right there, 575. Same exact spot. So this is it. This is it. If you flip back over the 200 SMA, I think you can actually say that the market has found a short-term bottom, right? Flipping back over the 200 SMA is no joke. That's no joke, right? So you have slipped the 200 SMA back on this Monday. You have slowly traded back into it, right? You are coming back to test it. This is where the decision is made, in my opinion. Do you reject this 200 SMA? And do you do the most painful thing for any late bulls here and just create another leg lower off the 200 SMA? Very possible. Or do we get the reclaim, right? And does this market start to heat back up? And do the dip buyers start to rejoice? That is today, man. That is something we need to be paying attention to today. And this week, really. This week, today, we'll have to see. But you guys can see right here. Here it is, in my opinion. It's between this 573 and 575 zone on the S&P 500, on the SPY ETF. You have the daily 200 SMA. You have the daily 20 SMA sitting right between this level. just sitting right there. That is not going to be easy to get through. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that. This is not going to be an easy zone to just go right through. So let's be aware of it today. Let's be cautious of it today. Let's not be the ones longing right into it. That's definitely a tough spot up there. A little bit interesting on where the pullback level is today on the SPY. I'm a little bit I'm not the most confident on it, to be honest. I'm liking maybe this gap level, like right here at 568. You can see that we had those lows here where the gap, sort of stopped right here, or where the gap picked up right at this 568. So I will be watching that today, 568. This is definitely a spot that I'll be watching today, right where this sort of gap started to trade right there. I'll be watching that 568. If you fail back under this 568, I think you will get your gap fill. All right, so if you do get something like this today, right, I think you will get your gap fill. If you fail back under these lows, so if you're holding here and you fail back below it, that would be your gap fill look. So I would not look to trade this downside and gap fill until you fail under 568. That's very clear, right? I think you need to at least wait for this to reject and start to see some weakness under to try to trade that gap fill. Before that, I would say you could hold that 568. The other spot that I'm trying to pay attention to, or will be paying attention to, is the FOMC highs here, right? Where did these FOMCs high? It really is like 571, right? It's like right around this 570.50, 571 area. So I might just sort of put a zone on it like that. Between that 570 and 570.50, you definitely have your FOMC highs here, right? FOMC highs, Thursday's highs, and this is sort of that zone that you might want to see if it can hold on to today, right in, flashbang, right in here, right? 570, right in there. So that is something I would be watching. Do we hold above the FOMC highs? If so, this could continue, right, towards the 573, towards the daily 20 and daily 200. That could be a watch today. If we fail back below those FOMC highs, then you likely see this move, right, back down to 568. That's my read there, okay? Right now, you can see that the ES, or the SPY, is trying to hold this FOMC high. See this? It's trying to maintain it, which would be a very key hold to start the day. Okay? 570, 570.50 FOMC highs. Watch that today. If we fail back under 570, I say you get 568. Under 568, you get gap fill. And then, of course, just please be aware of the 200 SMA above. That is a no-joke spot. Oh, Nasdaq holding over 20,225. Okay. All right. Nasdaq futures. So, 19.6. What a level. 19,600 on the Nasdaq. Exterminators outside. 19.6. Look at that level, man. Someone's there just saying, nope, we ain't going lower. There's definitely some strong buying off that 19.6. Another sick hold on Friday early morning. 19.6, definitely a nice spot and definitely creating that upside. Now, we had that 20,100 FOMC high, which was very clear, and we held above that this morning. And now we're even holding above this Thursday low at 20,225. So really, what I would prefer, here's my favorite watch today. What I would prefer today versus what we'll get, I don't know. But what I would prefer today is that pullback to the 20,100, right? Back down to that FOMC high. That would really be a first long watch for me if we can get that. If we break back below that FOMC high, which is 20,100, that is where you get your gap fill, right? If we do break back below that, then that is possibly where you get your gap fill, or at least your pullback to this 19,940 level, right? Right here, 19,940, 19,940. If you get your pullback to that level at 19,940, that could really be a beautiful long opportunity if we even get down there. I don't know if we will, but that would really be a key spot right there at 19,940. If we don't, if we don't break this FOMC high, then we're not going down there. 20,100 could easily be that spot to be watching today, right there. 20,100 FOMC highs. That would also be a really nice spot to watch. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky here, my friends, because we are trading right into the 20 SMA on the Nasdaq futures, and that is going to be a little bit tricky. It's also like right in between this zone, which is going to be tricky as well, right? So you can see we have a very clear 20,450 level. That's very clear. 20,450, 20,450. That is an abundantly clear spot there on the Nasdaq futures. That is right here at 20,450. So that's nice, right? That could be your long target today. 20,450 Nasdaq futures right up into these highs here, right? See this, how clear this flip was right here? So that could be a nice target on the long side, 20,450. Now, how do we get there is the question, right? Do we first need a pullback? Do we need a deeper pullback? That's the question, right? That's the tough part. Do we need a deeper pullback before we target that 20,450 level on the Nasdaq futures? I love the 20,100 level. That would be my favorite spot today, right? Don't fill the gap. Just hold those FOMC highs. That would be really my favorite long to look for. This 20,225 level is this Thursday low right here, and it's that Monday failure spot, right? So remember our Monday failure that we're talking about here over and over again, the Monday smackdown, the 3% downside on that Monday, that was right here, right? And take a look at the flip that's going on right as we speak. Look at this as we speak at 20,225. So you can see around 4 a.m. today, we gapped up into that level. We had some trouble getting above it. We actually rejected it, right, in the short term, 20,225. We were able to get back up into it and squeeze back above it and now turn it back into support. So if we hold this, then you might just get our morning push into the daily 20, right? Get your morning push into the daily 20, then we have to see what happens there, right? If that starts to hold, then maybe you just squeeze to 450 today. Or, right, we look for a pullback here, or we look for this to reject today and move back into our 20,100, which could be great. Okay? All right. So that's the Nasdaq futures plan. 20,225, watching that. 20,100, watching that. If we do break 20,100, maybe gap filled at 940. Ultimate target 245. And above that, we are still well off the daily 200 SMA, right? We are still well off the daily 200 SMA. And maybe, right, just maybe, this is a huge opportunity. And it probably, I don't want to say probably, but that's definitely something that I'm keeping my eyes on, right? Is there a huge long opportunity here on the Nasdaq of around, 3% to test the 200 SMA? I think it is still likely after seeing some of these very strong consolidation lows and these demand lows. I think it is definitely possible, right, that you do get the markets to come back up and test the 200. And maybe that's like the best short that comes in, but I think it's definitely possible to at least see the markets test that 200 SMA on the Nasdaq. That will be something that I keep in mind. So something to be considering. I would only look to take that long if we get a very clear hold over 450, right? Very clear hold over 450 is definitely the spot to look for the long into the 200. Very clear there on the Nasdaq futures. QQQ. All right, so QQQ. 485, 486. Who remembers how big this level was? 485, 486. FOMC highs, all of last week's highs, 485, 486. That was our major rejection point. If we go to the daily chart, take a look at how big this level was. This was, in my opinion, the bear flag level that needed to break or needed to reject, right? And I think possibly this QQQ is saying, no, right? We're not going bear flag. I think it's very possible. Right, because take a look at this 486 level on this 4-hour chart on the Qs. This was major highs, huge major high back there in August. Very important lows that came in here, right, at 486. That helped the market higher. That flip at 486 is what pushed the market higher. 485, 486, definitely a huge reclaim this morning. Huge. So if we go back to the levels, we can see on the 30-minute chart, we go ahead and zoom out here for a second, get more time. You can see right here, this was also these previous lows, and that was that Monday failure, right? It's all coming back down to this Monday failure. Look at this. Look at that Monday failure. Bam. Because we broke under that 486, 485 zone. We broke that. Everyone gave up, right? Bulls gave up. We came back into it right here. Smackdown, right? We came back up into it. Smackdown. Back up into it. Smackdown. Now, we're holding above it. And that's big, right? That's very important. So, what would be my favorite long entry today? One of these right here. One of those right there. If you can get that today, that's a beauty. If you can get a pullback long at 485, 486 today, I would absolutely be looking to see if that sets up. Pull back long to those FOMC highs, pull back long to this Thursday low, pull back long to those major daily previous levels. I would definitely be looking to see if that sets up today. And you can already see it set up, right? It already did set up. It's already happening. So, like, me saying this, it could be gone, right? I mean, this already happened. Look, pull back long. It's already going on. So, do we get another chance? That is a question that I cannot answer. But is that the spot? Absolutely, that's the spot. 485, 486. If you can get something back into this and start to see bulls step up, I would be looking for it. If you fail back under 485 here, and you fail back under that Thursday high, and you fail back under that FOMC high, guess what? You're going back to fill the gap, 480.50 area, right? But that's only if you fail under 485. Pull back longs, 485, 486. I would say you could target the daily 20 at 490, and then obviously the next level is right here at 492. See this 492 spot? 492, 492, 492, break, rejection, smackdown. 492 was the high. So that would be your next test, 492 on the Qs. If you hold above 485, 486, you go to 492 in my opinion. You go to start to try to test that 200 SMA above, okay? All right. Quick look at the IWM. Really nice IWM holds of this 203, man. Look at this low that's come in. I would say you got to get over this 208. You're in a nice channel here, right? Nice strength here off this 203. I say you got to get over that 208. If you can clear out this 208 previous high, FOMC high, you probably go to 210. Dow Jones, nice reclaim over 42.5 today, actually. Very nice reclaim over 42.5. 42.850. And the daily 20 is your next test. Yeah. 42.850 is your next test here. Take a look at this on the Dow. See these previous lows right here? Take a look at that. 42.850, daily 20, that's your next big test. That could be where a little bit of rejection comes in and provides you that pullback long, right? Pullback long target right here, 42.5. That's your pullback long, 42.5. Rejections possible at the 42.850, okay? All right, so really nice higher low on the SMH. Love that, right? Love that. That's check, right? That's number one, higher low, HL, check. That's good. Now, number two, I need one more thing. I need a reclaim. Reclaim. I need the reclaim. The reclaim of 233. Look at this right here. If this thing rips back over 233, I would definitely start looking for the semis. Right here. Major low, major low. If we can reclaim that 233 here, if we can clear this out and start to look at a hold above this level, that would be A+. A+, A+, A+. If we can get that right there. Major January lows, early February lows that held this market higher. This is where you failed and died into our next major demand. You have a very clear 233 spot right here. if you get a reclaim of this level, man, I would start to consider that semi-long. That would be the A-plus opportunity to be looking for on the SMH today, okay? That is definitely my watch there. Now, let's jump into some stocks. 3,000 people here, 1,000 likes. Thank you guys for all the support. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. By the way, if you guys want to do, if you ever want to clip the live stream, man, someone clipped the live stream on, right here. Someone clipped the live stream on WAP the other day. And I don't even know how much money he's up to now. Made so far $17, and if that thing keeps getting views, they're going to keep making money. So if you ever want to clip the live stream, if you want to make anything about the channel, and you're in WAP, of course you can join the free WAP down below for the watch list. You submit some clips to the content reward section, and you get paid, man. So yeah, that was a funny clip. I was looking at it. That reminded me of it today. How do I get back to the live stream? Did the live stream just end because I clicked off of it? No, it's still live. Oh no, it ended. All right, we're just gonna keep it. All right. All right. So, Tesla. Let's jump into Tesla. Can't hear, can't trade. 1 hour chart. So, Tesla has gotten above our 250, 254 zone. That's a big spot. Our 250, 254 zone is a big spot. And we have reclaimed that level, and we are holding above that level as we speak. So, this gets interesting. Great share spot. Love it. If you're not dipping your toes down here, man, all right, you got to at least dip some toes. All right, you can lose a toe, man. You can lose a toe, right? You'll be all right. Take a toe off. I'm looking at my foot right now. If you have to lose a toe, if you dip it in and it gets bit in the short term, it'll grow back, right? You'll grow back. It's like a lizard's tail right now. If you dip a toe in and Tesla does go back lower, it'll grow back, right? You'll be all right. So hopefully some of you guys are dipping toes. I think most people are. I would assume so. I would hope so. 265. That's the spot. 265 right here. 265, 265. That's where we are cautious on the upside. Over 265, I would say you go 285 very quickly, in my opinion. Over 265, I would say you're going to see 285 very quickly. Right here. That would be my assumption. 265, over that, 285, and that would be a test of the 200 SMA, 285. So that makes sense to me. But we have to clear out 265 first. I do like the potential pullback long right here, right? Because you just sort of turned this whole channel low, this consolidation period on Tesla, you just broke above it, right? So you got a very clear consolidation period here that anyone that's short under this 250 area is now underwater, right? Anyone that's shorted down here, right, is now completely underwater on this morning gap up. And that could spark Tesla upside. So if you get a pullback and the buyers defend this 254, 250 zone, this is going to discourage or probably tell the shorts down here, hey, it might be time to exit. The bulls are really holding that 250 zone now. So if we turn that 250 into support today, and we really turn that into a hold, I would definitely consider whether there is a trade here up to 265 and maybe up into 285. That is definitely something I would be watching for sure. For sure, right? And the Reddit group, I mean, I don't even know anything about that, but the first thing that pops into my mind is that if a bunch of morons shorted Tesla stock because they're tucked, they've tucked their manhood between their legs, if that's why they've done it, then they're about to get ripped. There you go. There's your clip for the day. If a bunch of man-childs have shorted this stock because they're upset about some bullshit and they've tucked their manhood between their legs, then I hope they get ripped. I hope to God they get ripped. That fires me up, man. That fires me up. 265. That's the level. 265. 250, 254. Watch that as a hold. 265 is the supply. If you fail back under 250, if you fail back under 250, you're going to 245, you're going to 240. Okay? I think you have to hold 250, in my opinion. I think you have to hold 250. Nvidia, man, this looks good. Oh, man, Nvidia's going to get me in trouble. I know it. She's going to get me in trouble. I can see it. I am very tempted, and I feel like I'm going to get in trouble here. Tampon Tim. Tampons in the men's bathroom. Who voted for it? Oh, man. Yeah, Nvidia looks really, really interesting here. Look at this. So, Nvidia, let me talk you through this play. Let me talk you through what this looks like. You have a major low, right? You have a major low here at this 112 area. 112, 114, right? Major low pushed back higher, right? Right there. See that? Then you turn that into a rejection right here. See this? How it failed back below? Made a little alfalfa, right? See this little alfalfa move? This is called an alfalfa, right? That's what I like to call it. Or you could say a liquidity grab, right? You fail back under that flat low. You have a little bit of an alfalfa move below it, but quickly gets back above it. And any late shorts here get absolutely decimated, right? Decimation of shorts. Anyone that's short underneath that 112 level. You get back above that low, right? And over the last week, you have just created this really, really interesting consolidation right above that level, right? Look at those 4-hour wicks at the lows. Look at this downtrend break. This is really interesting. This will require the market to have some balls, but if it does, and that SMH can reclaim this 233, look, it looks very similar to the SMH. If the SMH can reclaim this 233 level, I really think this Nvidia could pay very interesting. This is a very interesting play. I really am going to watch this today. I'm going to try my best to find a spot. 118 looks very interesting, right? Let's go ahead and break this down in the short term. Take a look at this 118 spot. If we break this down shorter term. So you guys can see right here on the 30-minute, you have some very clear highs at 118 right here. You have some very clear lows at 118 right here. You have the daily 20 SMA at 118, right? The daily 20 SMA is right here at 118 today. If you could hold above 118 today, I think you could get this. So that is going to be my major watch. Very strong buying down between this zone. You're back above 118. That looks really interesting. I would truly want to target 126 highs right here. That would be my true target. That would be like something along the lines of like a risk reward, something like that, right? You might need to clear out this 121 spot before you can trust it. That is my only concern. You might need to clear out this 121 spot. So if I go to this 30-minute chart, you can see some very clear fails around this 121, right? Look at this, 121, 121, 121. If this fails 121 again, that could be a little bit of a failure point right there. So if you do get that clear hold over 121, that would even be another confirming look. So right here, 121, 118, 4-hour looks fantastic for a breakout. If we can get a market rip, are we ripping? Yeah, I mean, if we can get that SMH to juice today, which it looks a little bit juicy, that is definitely a watch, big time. So let's see what happens. Don't want to get too excited because Nvidia gets me horned up. I'll tell you that. It does. And I've taken my fair share of losses on that thing before. AMD has been very strong, which is very bizarre, but it has been. So pretty good, right? Finally, a little bit of strength behind AMD. 113 is like the ultimate high, I think. But you are seeing some very clear higher lows starting to form here, right? Take a look at this. Previous highs. Look at those lows, man. Not bad, right? That's a very clear structure hold, right? This structure high turning into these structure lows. This structure high. General highs, right? General lows. It's a little bit messy there. It looks like it's more like 105, right? You can see right there, right around that 105 spot. So you can see 105, 105. I'd say as long as AMD is back at 105, right? As long as it's above that 105, that's a nice spot, right? That's a nice spot. But I don't think you want to chase it. But back at this 105 looks to be a spot right there. Look at that. So yeah, I'd watch that 105 right there. Watch out for that 50 SMA as well. ARM, very interesting, man. Take a look at this chart on ARM. Look at this 4-hour chart on ARM, and look at what happened. Look at what's been going on at this 116 spot. Someone clearly does not want ARM under 116. That is about as abundantly clear as it comes. Look at these wicks at 116 on ARM. Bam, 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 bam. 4 days in a row. 4 days in a row. Pretty sick. What'd I miss? Did I miss something? Look at that. ARM 116. Very, very big spot. So watch that 116 on ARM. Decent little pop through this downtrend here. I would say a little bit careful into 126. Right? You can see right here 126 is definitely a spot. So maybe you wait for 126. Maybe you wait for 126. But, yeah, I think you do wait for 126. Because this is sort of right in the middle of the channel now. You sort of had to be long off 116. Or at least near 116. So, I'd probably wait for 126 now. If you get above that, then I'd say it's game time. Palantir. Man, is this a sick setup on Palantir. So, you have about as defined 4-hour inverse head and shoulder. Guys, if I don't know if I missed something in the chat, but if someone is getting offended by the things I'm saying, please leave. Please. And grow a pair. If you're getting I have not said anything offensive. If you're getting offended by what I'm saying, leave. The exterminator's at my door, and I'm not going to grab it, so. 85. 85. Look at this inverse head and shoulder, man. Look at this. Look at this. That is sick. Look at this inverse head and shoulder on Palantir. That is a really nice look. So, I would be very much watching this. Very much paying attention to this. 80 lows. You had very clear highs at 90, 92. Right? And take a look at how this is holding above 90.92. These previous major highs, look at this hold this morning. Look at the hold this morning. That is awesome. If you can hold above this 90.92 zone today, this is my favorite long, straight back up into this 100 spot. I think you would go vertical here. I think you can absolutely go vertical here. Look, vertical up, vertical down. If you hold this 92 spot, why would you not go vertically higher? You could go vertically higher here to 100, right? Above 100, you go 105. What a woman, yeah. Little do they know, man. You guys think because I think people think because I don't share my personal life, they think I just sit inside my computer. I sit here all day and I have that's far from the truth, my friends. I think it's very smart not to share personal life online, and nor will I ever. So, not interested in sharing that. 92, 90, that's the level, right? Right there. 92.90. That's the spot to watch. So, if you hold above that, I say 100. I say watch that straight up, straight down setup. Amazon 200 SMA today. That's the spot to watch. Amazon 200 SMA today. Right here. If we can hold above this 200 spot, I would say over 200 in the daily 200 SMA, look for that hold. Okay? Watch that. Google, right here, 170 and the daily 20. Watch that, right? Daily 20 SMA, 170, big spot there. APP, I would look for a pullback long on APP to 315, 310. That would be my pullback long to look for today. Look at this. Look at this. Right here. 315, 310. Previous lows, previous lows. If you get a pullback long here and continue this uptrend, this could be really nice. I would watch this. Right here. 310, 315. APP. Watching that closely. Costco. Oh, Costco, please do it for us. Costco, best stock in the world. Best company in the world. Look at these lows, 870. Lows, lows, lows. Finding a very strong low with market starting to recover. If Costco gets over this 920 spot, if Costco can reclaim this daily 200, I am, one, definitely buying shares, and two, definitely looking to see if there is an opportunity to the long side to 945, 944, and above that. I mean, this could get pretty serious above that if we can get it and if the markets can truly find some real strong movement. But definitely a watch on a reclaim of the 200 SMA today, for sure. That's a for sure watch. Netflix, I'm not so sure I want to trade Netflix here, but yeah, I would say you probably can get back into the 1,000 area if the markets are strong. Right here, 990, 1,000. You probably can see that get up in there. If you can hold above this 970. Yeah, look for a hold over 970 today. Hold over 970, you probably go 990, 1,000. All right, last one here. Meta 613. Meta 613. Right there. 613, 613, 613. Remember we talked about not shorting Meta into the daily 200 SMA? Well, that was the right idea. Thank God we didn't do that because that was the absolute worst idea. So, really nice no shorts into the daily 200. That was the right call there. I would like a pullback back to this 598, to be honest. If we just rip today, I would say targets would be 624, right up here. 624, daily 20, daily 100. I would prefer this to gap fill or at least pull back to some extent towards this 600 spot, personally. Just because we're up today doesn't mean you start chasing everything with your head cut off. 223, 224. That's Apple, right? Look at that flip spot right there. Look how clear that is. Previous lows, new highs. This is your supply zone, 223, 224. Pullback longs would be fantastic at 217.50. All right, guys. So if you guys did not hear, you probably didn't if you're here on the live stream, but I am introducing the voice chat and the screen share in the Discord. I've had a lot of people ask about it. I want to try it out. So we're going to be screen sharing on the live trading now. If you guys are already part of the Discord, then it's going to be in WAP. And if you guys are in WAP, if you signed up for the Discord through WAP, it'll be live streaming on WAP. We'll also be live streaming on Zoom. I will not be in Discord screen share because it sucks. So we'll be screen sharing during trading hours in WAP and on Zoom. If you guys are like legacy members of the Discord and you didn't sign up through WAP after we made the switch, right? If you're signed up originally through LaunchPass, then you can watch it on Zoom. That'll be very easy for you. You can also sign up through WAP, but you're going to have to cancel your original subscription and sign up again through WAP. You can email me if you want to get your old rate, right? Some people are in at like $50 a month, $100 a month. If you are in at those earlier prices, shoot me an email. I can get you a code to then cancel and re-sign up through WAP and get your original rate so you can be part of the ecosystem on WAP, which I think is great. There's a lot of things to take advantage of through WAP. There's the posting clips, content rewards. There's announcements. There's trading contents that I share. We'll start live streaming in there. So there's a lot of cool stuff in WAP if you want to be a part of it. And that's that. So hope you guys enjoy your trading day. It's going to be, looks like it could be a good one. So press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Thank you for all the support as always on the live streams. Let's keep growing. Let's keep grinding. And, yeah, that is about it. I'm going to be careful how much I do on Zoom. I do have to think about this because there's going to be people that start, that just reminded me. Someone asking me where to find the Zoom link just got me a little bit of a thought in my mind. People are going to start spreading that Zoom link to their friends. Okay. Thank you for that. Maybe it might be just in WAP today. Might just be in WAP today. All right, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out.